Well, my spirits are restored. In fact, almost immediately after the surgery, I felt much better. A, it didn't hurt, and B, well, I can't remember what B was, but it didn't hurt. No, the surgery went well. The bad news is, of course, I had to spend a week lying on my left-hand side. I couldn't read. I couldn't, it's kind of it's not a great situation, but as I said, I'm survived. My eyesight's still a little blurry, I will say, but things are on the mend, and I'm feeling good. And I'm outside in the backyard. It's a beautiful day. This is what the house looks like, at least on this phone. So, and thanks for everybody who sent their best wishes. Much appreciated. See you soon. It's been a busy week. I'm still recovering from the eye surgery, and then we had the hand surgery on Monday, but I still found time to participate in the Walk to End Alzheimer's and to visit our Atlanta Congresswoman, Nikema Williams's office with two members of the Atlanta board from the Alzheimer's Association here in Georgia, Dan Gerke and Gannon Murphy. And we met with the staff to try to begin to develop relationships with local officials. But now, for something completely different, an excerpt from a recent interview with journalist Bruce Kauffman.
So how much is it that you read, this is what Alzheimer's does to you, and you go, oh, I've got that?
Yeah, so absolutely. I am a 78-year-old man, and as such, I deal with, my hearing has changed, my vision has changed. I've got, problems in my shoulder. I had, back treatment about 2 months ago. I'm battling all the usual stuff that you go through as your body starts to fall apart. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, I do realize that it's not always the disease. Yeah, there are other factors.
With the knowledge that you have the disease, a little hard for you to determine which of these things, you're calling someone up saying, I'm confused about this. Any normal person your age might be confused, or Alzheimer's.
But it actually doesn't make any difference, does it, really? If you think about it, I've got a problem and I need some help solving it. It doesn't matter if the problem is because I'm 78 or because I've got Alzheimer's.
Right.
I got a problem.
Yeah.
So that's... Like I said, one of the things when I decided to turn the cameras on myself and record what happens to me, basically, I got this real charge of energy. It's a new project. And I started approaching it the way I would any other documentary film, which is to do a ton of research, to read everything I can, but mainly to talk to people living with the disease, care partners, scientists, medical practitioners, a range of people, journalists, artists,
So where are you finding the people? So when did you find out that you had a diagnosis of Alzheimer's?
So I was concerned about my short-term memory, so I got in touch with a neurologist, made an appointment, went down, and he just took me through a course of tests. They start you with cognitive testing, blood work, etc., etc. At some point I said, I think I'm being sort of led down a path here. And he said, well, if you're diagnosed with Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, there may be something, we can actually do about it. But if we don't know, so I said, sure, go ahead. And he took a sample, or he didn't, but the hospital took a sample of my spinal fluid, which is one of the two ways you can actually certifiably test if somebody has Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. And and I tested positive. He said, you have early onset Alzheimer's, and that means simply that you're in the early stages. And there will be presumably later stages.
Lord willing. So, was there anything in your family history that would have made you think this might happen?
Yeah, yeah. Both my parents died with some form of dementia. At the time, they didn't, I mean, unless you did an autopsy, they had no other way of knowing. And so I'm pretty sure it was Alzheimer's, but my father also had Parkinson's towards the end of his life. So yeah, I was kind of aware. In fact, I would occasionally lift my eyes up to the heavens and say, whatever else you got coming, don't give me Alzheimer's.
All right. So, between the time you had the diagnosis and today, which is what, 2 years later,
Yeah, it's approximately 2 years,
you feeling any different?
about 18 months. Actually, I feel sharper than when
Yeah.
I was diagnosed. When you get a diagnosis, it's an explanation. You gain an awareness, and so it makes me vigilant in terms of looking for change and wondering what's coming next. But it also calms you in a way. I find having an explanation is not, you're no longer sort of, what's going on? What's
Right.
going on? I've got an explanation. I know what's going on. It's a disease. And you also learn workarounds. You learn to adapt.